Some of you out here saying you want success, you want to change your life, you want to elevate, but you don't even want to get out of bed for it. You're praying for something you're not even willing to work for. You're dreaming about a future you're not even building. Yo, before I even get into it, I need you to do me a favor. Don't play with this message today. Don't scroll halfway. Don't halfway listen. Don't halfway live this thing out. I didn't come to entertain you. I came to wake you up, because let's be real. And I'm not judging you. I've been you. I know what it feels like to say, I'll do it tomorrow. I'm not ready yet. I just don't feel it today. But here's the truth. Laziness is stealing your destiny. Every time you hit snooze on your grind, you delay your greatness. Listen to me. This ain't about hype. This ain't about motivation that lasts 5 minutes. I'm not here to tickle your ears. I'm here to grab your soul and remind you, you got work to do. And if you don't kill the laziness will kill the life you were meant to live. So don't turn this off. Don't drift away. Lock in, focus, breathe. Because what I'm about to say might be the shift that changes everything for you. Let's go. Let me tell you something. You weren't born lazy. Stop calling yourself that. You weren't created to sit around, waste time, and wait on life to hand you something. That's not who you are. Somewhere along the way, you bought into a lie. A lie that told you it's okay to do just enough, that it's fine to stay comfortable, that average is acceptable. You weren't born with that. That's something you picked up. That's something you chose. Laziness isn't a curse on your life. It's a mindset you've allowed to grow because you haven't connected deep enough with what you were called to do. Laziness is a cover. It's a disguise. It's a mask fear wears so it doesn't have to take responsibility. See, most people aren't really lazy. They're scared. Scared of failing. Scared of looking stupid. Scared of giving their all and still not making it. So instead of facing that fear, they play it safe. They slow down. They start using language like, I'll try, I'll get to it. I just need to be in the right headspace. But let me ask you this. When's the last time you saw results come from excuses? When's the last time sitting on your potential ever produced purpose? You keep telling yourself, I'm tired, but you've been sleeping 8 hours a night. You say, I don't feel motivated, but that's because you stopped feeding your soul. You don't need motivation. You need a mirror. You need to look yourself in the eye and be honest. Have I been playing small? Have I been letting laziness run my life? Because if you're not doing what you said you were born to do, you're not just being lazy, you're being ungrateful. Yeah, I said it. Because there's somebody out there who would give anything to have what you have. The strength in your legs, the breath in your lungs, the time you've been given. And what are you doing with it? You're scrolling, you're watching, you're talking, but you're not moving, you're not building, you're not becoming. And that's not because you're incapable. It's not because you're broken. It's not because something's wrong with you. It's because you've let this idea sit in your head that maybe this is just who I am. But that's the trap. That's the false identity. Laziness has convinced you to stay stuck, and now you're defending it like it's a part of your DNA, but it's not. It's a decision. And just like you decided to accept it, you can decide today to kill it. You don't need more time, you need more truth. And the truth is, the longer you keep identifying with laziness, the longer you delay your greatness. You can't say you want legacy and keep living like leisure is your end goal. You can't say you want to inspire people, break generational curses, shift your whole bloodline, and still treat your work like it's optional. Nah, it don't work like that. You got to move like it matters. You got to act like you're on assignment, because you are. I know what you're thinking, but it's hard. Of course it's hard. Nobody said it would be easy. That's why it's worth it. That's why not everyone does it. But if you're waiting for it to be easy before you start, you'll never start. And if you're waiting to feel like it before you work, you'll always be behind. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. Purpose doesn't ask if you're comfortable. It just requires one thing. Show up. Show up with all you've got every single day, even when it's not pretty, even when it's not perfect, even when it's not popular. You've been giving energy to everything except the thing that's going to change your life. You're answering every call, but the one that leads to your calling. You're giving time to people who aren't invested in your future. And you're giving no time to the future you say you want. That's laziness in disguise. That's how the enemy tricks you, not with obvious destruction, but with quiet distractions. With one more episode, 5 more minutes, I'll do it later. Later becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And next year becomes never, unless you decide right now, I'm done. You've got to start fighting for the version of you that doesn't hit snooze on life. You've got to start waking up and choosing effort over excuses. You've got to start killing off every thought, every habit, every behavior that smells like laziness, because your future can't afford it. Your family can't afford it. Your dream can't survive your excuses. You got work to do, and it starts with killing that lie. The lie that says, this is just who I am. No, you're not lazy. You're powerful. You're chosen. You're equipped. But you got to decide to live like it. This isn't about being busy. This is about being on fire. This is about waking up hungry, waking up focused, waking up with a why that's bigger than your weakness. You've got to dig deep. You've got to silence the voice in your head that tells you it's okay to settle. It's not okay. It's never been okay. You've been given too much, survived too much, come too far to let laziness steal the rest. You've got one shot at this life, one. What you do today either pushes you closer to who you're meant to be or further away from it, but you don't get to stay in place. You're either growing or you're giving up. So stop playing like you got time. Stop pretending like tomorrow is promised. Get up, lock in, and remember this: you weren't born lazy, you were born to lead. You've been trained by this world to believe you need to be inspired to take action. That the right song, the right quote, the right vibe, the right time will finally get you moving. But let me tell you something. Time is moving with or without you. And while you're waiting to feel like it, somebody else who's just as tired, just as broken, just as unsure, they're getting up, they're clocking in, they're building something. Not because they feel great, not because everything's perfect, but because they made up their mind that showing up matters more than feeling good. You keep saying you're waiting for motivation. Let me tell you the truth. Motivation is a liar. Motivation is that friend that hypes you up, but don't show up when it's time to do the work. Motivation says, let's go on Monday, and disappears by Wednesday. But discipline is the real MVP. Discipline don't ask for applause. It don't ask for permission. Discipline wakes up, puts the shoes on, and gets moving, even when the bed feels like a trap, even when your mind says just one more hour, even when your feelings are telling you you've already failed. Discipline says, I don't care how I feel, I care about who I'm becoming. You want to know how to kill laziness? You stop needing to be in the mood. You stop waiting for the planets to align. You stop giving your emotions the driver's seat and start driving with your decisions. Your decisions shape your life, not your doubts, not your distractions, your decisions. Every time you choose to get up when you don't feel like it, you're taking your power back. Every time you execute without waiting on inspiration, you're building momentum. And momentum is what changes everything. See, most people lose not because they don't have talent, but because they treat their dream like it's optional. Like they can just show up on the days they feel on fire and coast the rest of the time. But success doesn't work like that. Purpose doesn't work like that. You don't get to skip days and expect results. You don't get to play part-time and expect full-time rewards. You gotta move like your life depends on it, because it does. You think you're tired, you think it's hard now. Imagine the weight of regret 5 years from now. Imagine waking up one day and realizing you let a whole season of your life slip away because you were waiting to feel ready. You don't need ready. You need real. You need honest. You need to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm done sitting. I'm done watching. I'm done waiting. I'm doing. And I get it, you're human. You've had days where the fire was gone. You've had moments where you question if you're even capable. But let me remind you, you've got something inside you that doesn't need hype. You've got something inside you that doesn't need a crowd, doesn't need applause. It just needs a decision, a real decision, a line in the sand moment that says, from now on, I show up no matter what. You have to learn how to create your own energy. You have to learn how to move when nobody's watching, how to grind when nobody claps, how to show up when everything inside you wants to disappear. Because that's what separates those who make it from those who don't. The ones who refuse to let emotions dictate their execution. The ones who do the work even when their body is sore, even when their mind is screaming quit, even when the reward isn't instant. You can't afford to keep letting your feelings run the show. You want a new life? You want real change? Then your decisions have to overpower your emotions. Your calendar needs to be built around priorities, not moods. Because let's be real, you don't feel like brushing your teeth every day, but you do it. You don't feel like showing up to school or work some days, but you do it. Why? Because the consequences of not doing it are immediate. But with your dreams, the consequences are quiet. You skip a day, nothing changes, until one day everything changes and you're sitting in a life you didn't choose, wondering where the time went. Stop treating your goals like a hobby. Stop telling yourself you'll get to it when you're in a better place. The better place you're waiting for, it's on the other side of your consistency. It's on the other side of your discipline. And you can't buy it. You can't borrow it. You can't fake it. You got to build it day by day, rep by rep, task by task. Even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Look, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I'm telling you it's going to be worth it. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of delay, the pain of what if, the pain of wasted time, that'll haunt you. So you got to decide right now, am I going to live by my moods or am I going to move by my mission? Because there's work to be done and nobody's going to do it for you. Not your friends, not your family, not your mentors, not your heroes. It's on you. You want it, then prove it. Not by what you say, but by what you do when it's hard, when it's quiet, when it's inconvenient. That's when champions are built. So stop waiting, stop watching, stop wishing, kill the excuse, kill the delay, kill the version of you that only works when it feels good, and give birth to the version of you that gets it done no matter what. You ever notice how the most successful people don't talk about why they can't do something? They don't make a list of obstacles. They make a plan. They don't spend their time crying about what didn't work. They analyze it, adjust, and attack again. And it's not because their lives are easier. It's not because they have less going on. It's because they refuse to be victims of their own limitations. They don't let the excuse breathe long enough to become a belief. You know what the scariest part is? You can start believing your own excuses. That's when it gets dangerous. That's when you really start shrinking. Because now you're not just saying, I can't. You're building your identity around it. You start saying, that's just how I am. I'm not that type of person. I don't have the discipline. I wasn't born with it. That's how the enemy wins. Not by destroying your talent, not by taking away your tools, but by convincing you that staying stuck is your truth. But it's not. You got more in you. You got a fire in you that excuses can't put out unless you let them. But it's got to be your decision to stop letting that fire die out every time things get uncomfortable. Every time life doesn't go your way, you have to stop negotiating with yourself. Stop making quitting an option. Stop turning small setbacks into full-blown shutdowns. Because the longer you let those excuses run free, the more they dominate your discipline. And let's be honest, some of y'all are brilliant at making excuses. You're creative with it. You can justify almost anything. You'll tell yourself, I'll start when I have more money. I'll go hard when I have more time. I'll commit when the timing's right. And that's exactly how you end up living the same year over and over, just with a new calendar. No growth, no movement, just more of the same disappointment, covered in a fresh set of excuses. You don't need a better excuse. You need a better standard. You need to raise the bar on yourself. You need to start demanding more, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. You need to stop letting how you feel dictate what you do. You need to wake up and decide that your excuses will no longer have permission to speak louder than your execution. You think it's your situation that's holding you back, but it's your story about the situation. It's what you keep telling yourself about what you can and can't do. And as long as you keep feeding that narrative, you'll keep living inside the box of your own excuses. But the moment you flip the script and start talking like a person who's already made it, already won, already overcome, everything changes, because now you're operating from belief, not doubt, from power, not passivity. You say you want to be great? Then prove it, not with your words, but with your actions. Show me how bad you want it. Show me you're done settling. Show me you're done making room for the excuse, because you can't be committed and casual at the same time. You can't say, I want it, and keep living like you don't. Eventually, something's got to give, and it better not be your purpose. It better not be your dream. So here's the real question. Are you finally ready to stop running? Are you finally ready to stop telling yourself why it won't work and start showing the world how it's done? Are you ready to stop living in the shadow of your excuses and step fully into the light of your calling? Because I promise you, the moment you kill the excuse, you activate the gift. You think the calling is going to come without the grind. You think the vision you were given was just for decoration. You were chosen for something, but chosen doesn't mean it's just going to fall in your lap. Chosen means responsibility. Chosen means you've got to wake up and move like it matters. You've got to bring effort that matches your assignment. And laziness and calling can't coexist. One of them has to die. Some of you out here frustrated. You feel stuck. You feel like you're not moving, like nothing's happening. But it's not that the dream isn't real. It's that the work ethic isn't aligned. You're expecting a harvest you didn't plant for. You're praying for doors to open, but you haven't even gotten up to knock. You say you're waiting on God, on timing, on clarity. But in reality, it's waiting on you. Your grind is missing. Your hunger is fading. And you've convinced yourself that being busy means you're doing something, when really you've just been avoiding the real work. You can't build something meaningful on minimum effort. You can't change lives doing half days. You can't shift generations clocking out early. This ain't no 9-to-5 mission. This is life or death for your destiny. This is legacy work, and legacy work doesn't come to the comfortable. It doesn't come to the person who only gives effort when it's easy. It comes to the one who shows up in the dark when nobody's clapping, nobody's watching, nobody's calling. It comes to the one who does the hard thing anyway. And I get it. It's heavy. It's lonely. There are days when it feels like the work isn't working, when you're grinding and there's no applause, no confirmation, no breakthrough in sight. But that's when you dig deeper. That's when you remind yourself, this ain't about being seen. This is about being faithful. This is about mastering your assignment when it's hard, so you're ready when it explodes. That's how greatness is built. Not on the mountaintop, in the trenches, in the quiet, in the moments when it would have been easy to quit, but you didn't. You got to train yourself to stop waiting on motivation and start moving with conviction. You've got something sacred to protect, something valuable, something that doesn't belong in the hands of laziness. That calling you carry, it deserves your sweat. It deserves your focus. It deserves a version of you that refuses to live beneath what you were built for. People always talk about wanting to live free, wanting time, freedom, financial freedom, emotional freedom. But let me tell you what freedom costs. It costs work. The freedom you want is on the other side of discipline. It's on the other side of waking up early, staying up late, outworking your comfort zone. Freedom isn't something you're given. It's something you earn. Through consistency, through sacrifice, through effort, when nobody's watching and progress feels invisible. And the truth is, if you don't put in the work, you're still going to work, just for someone else's vision instead of your own. You'll still sweat, you'll still grind. But instead of building something with your name on it, you'll be helping build someone else's dream because you never committed to your own. That's the cost of laziness. It doesn't just delay your purpose, it transfers it. And if that doesn't wake you up, I don't know what will. There's a version of you locked inside the one who's watching this right now that is dangerous when locked in. A version of you that's relentless, focused, driven beyond distraction. But that version can only be born through effort. You gotta be willing to outlast the resistance, to push past the laziness, the doubt, the voice in your head telling you to slow down. You gotta stop giving that voice a microphone. Shut it down, get quiet, lock in, and go. Because this is not a rehearsal. This is your life. This is your moment. This is your one shot to take everything you've been given, the gifts, the scars, the story, the pain, and turn it into something that matters. And there's no shortcut. There's no cheat code. The only way to the other side is through the work, through the sweat, through the early mornings and the late nights, through the tears and the sacrifices nobody sees, through the days when you feel invisible but you keep going anyway because you know there's something on the other side that makes all of this worth it. You got something valuable inside you, but you got to protect it from distraction. You got to protect it from laziness. You got to protect it from the version of you that only gives 70% and then wonders why nothing's changing. You got to go all in. You got to grind like your life depends on it, because in a way it does. Not just your life, but the lives of the people connected to your purpose. There are people who need what's inside you, and they're waiting on you to stop playing, stop delaying, stop hiding, and deliver. So the next time laziness knocks, the next time comfort tries to creep in and talk you out of your grind, I want you to remember this. You've got a calling, you've got work to do, and the world is waiting on you to show up and move like it.